Well, hello. I have known of Jim Ramstad for many, many years. He was my brother's youth and government advisor when my brother was in high school, and you were a state legislator. My mother is the biggest fan on earth of Jim Ramstad, so I've been hearing very effusive praise for him for decades. And she says hello, by the way. You always remember her when you see her, which speaks to you, but also to her. My mother is memorable. Anybody who's met A.J. Hodges seems to remember her. I also know Jim Ramstad as a policymaker. As John said, the passage of the Wellstone and Domenici Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act is an extraordinary moment for our country, an extraordinary moment for people who have mental health, mental illness, and for people who are chemically dependent in one way or another. Because it means that that insurance companies can't give us different co-pays or tell us we can't stay as long because they somehow are confused about whether or not addiction is an illness and whether or not it needs treatment. That is a huge, huge step forward for this country. And were those the only things, were those the only reasons that I could admire Jim Ramstad, they would be enough. He remembers my mom and the Addiction Equity Act. But honestly, here's why I'm here. 9,946 days ago, for the first time in a while, I woke up and I didn't drink, and I went to bed and I hadn't had a drink. And that has been true for the last 9,946 days. That was in 1991. I'm sorry, that was in 1989. I was halfway through college. I graduated in 91. At no point in my life had it occurred to me to run for office. And at some point in my life, it did occur to other people that I should run for office, and they asked me to do it. I had thought maybe someday at that point. This was in the early 2000s. But I also was nervous, because politics is a business that can sometimes invite dings on one's integrity. And as recovering people, we can't wake up too many mornings in a row and not be able to look ourselves in the eye in the mirror. We have way more at stake than a political job or a political decision. We have our lives at stake if we do that too often. And I didn't know if one could be successful in politics and be a sober person. I didn't know if you could maintain your integrity in politics, if you could follow that calling or not. But I did know. I did know that it was possible to be a person in recovery and to hold office and to have all the pressures that come to bear with that, because I knew Jim Ramstad did it. I knew that Jim Ramstad did it. I had a shining beacon of possibility in front of me, and I said yes to the call to run for city council, and I did it, and I served for 8 years. And I met with Congressman Ramstad during that time, and we took a photo, and it was on my wall in my office as a city council member as a good reminder, both of the good work that can be done as an elected official and a good work that can be done in sobriety. And then I took the call to run for mayor, and I won, and I switched offices. It took me a while to realize I'm actually in the corner office. And that photo did not make it up on the wall because almost none of the photos did. It's a complicated story about rounded walls and union labor and all that sort of thing. But here's what happened. Last fall, I went through some challenges. This whole community went through some significant challenges, and I found myself in the middle of a hurricane, in the middle of a firestorm. And I do remember startling my staff on more than one occasion by saying, "Thank God I'm an alcoholic," in recovery. Because I had somewhere to take any of the personal feelings that I had, any of the personal questions I had a process that I could take them to. And I've been doing that and clinging more closely to what recovery is. Just last week, I was admitting to another human being the exact nature of my wrongs. But I had to cling even more closely. It was one of those moments in my life where, God is either everything or he is nothing. And one of the things that I did is I pulled out that photo. This is 100% true. I pulled out that photo and I set it up on the bookshelf where I can see it from where I most often sit during meetings. And it's because I needed that reminder of integrity in leadership and sobriety in leadership. I needed a photo of Jim Ramstad that I could see. And I see it every day. And you know that you are a hero of mine because it is a terrible picture of me. But that is less important than the fact that it is a great picture of a man who has shown us all what it is to govern with integrity and to bring care and consideration for people who are suffering from all kinds of issues and challenges, including addiction, to bring that kind of integrity to office. And so I can't think of anybody more suitable to give pretty much any award to, let alone the George Mann Award from the retreat. And Congressman, I offer you my thanks and my gratitude. I hope we can get a better picture tonight. And congratulations.